are started, and a map which, like we were saying, Dean, is one that can really go anyone's way. It really is a very open map. It's a map everyone has played aplenty, and it's a map that's perfect for rosters who are perhaps in a little more of a transitional period.
Yeah, which is the case for both of these teams. So I'm waiting to see who shows up in form here in the beginning. It's going to really help out whoever can get that early momentum, I would imagine. Sorry, a little bit of squeaking in the background there. All good though. Not any sort of utility at all being purchased up here by EPG. That's interesting. Full Kevlar, no one even bothering with upgraded pistols, etc. You do not see this too often, and even then for the CT side, just a smoke and a kit for a retake if needed. They've gone heavy with this A setup, a quick rotation from window if they need, and then 3 around the bomb site itself, and it looks like it will probably be the correct call.
A nice placed setup at the very least. Plenty of opportunity to catch this as they start to creep their way up. Connector, and MHL does find the early contact. Able to relocate as well as he taps down a second. Heavy God with him, and it's a slaughter inside of that A site. The stack working out absolutely perfectly, and at this point for Crad, I mean, you're playing for just a little bit of glory and not a lot else. He's trying to isolate Mighty Max. He's got to stick this reload, but Nertz is having none of it. Plays the bodyguard well. And Endpoint get through the first round incredibly cleanly.
Yeah, a lot faster than I thought it was going to be. Pretty swift. As I said, they had strong position, sure, but I still thought we'd have EPG putting in a few scrappy fights as they normally do, but didn't really get much of a chance before being tapped down. Good start from Heavy God, good start from MHL as well, 2 of the newcomers. That's what you want to be seeing. But it doesn't seem like there's any sort of investment at all behind this round. Fully go with not even one P250, I don't believe. Not even a flash in there. So Endpoint really shouldn't have any issues at all. Just closing this round out. Likely with all 5 alive. Get into that first gun round then as well. In a position where hopefully their economy shouldn't be too weak, despite it being very early on. This little spray down. MHL gets himself a couple. Heavy God does the same again. And also Nertz. So it's just a repeat of how that pistol round played out in terms of kills, basically.
Nice and clean, nice and simple. Exactly what was expected, right? There wasn't really any kind of buy into that one. We weren't expecting anything particularly spectacular. And it goes through without too much of a problem. But this is where potentially things will start to get a little interesting. EPG family, a first chance at it. A first real bite of the cherry. 5 AKs out, and they're going to go charging out mid. Anakez able to open things up beautifully onto MHL to start the round off. And well, for the first time in this map, Dean, we've found EPG family with a man advantage.
Yeah, I mean, early days in fairness, so didn't elude them for too long. Straight into the first gun round with a decent beginning, as you said. It's Anakez as well. He's been a monster whenever I've watched him playing with this exact team, I suppose, anymore. With his core. Arca's creeping straight out ramp. There is a player on default. I thought he would have heard the steps, but it looks like he's unaware for now. Instead, Nertz gets caught on stairs. Surreal with only an MP9 does what he can. But a single kill probably won't be enough. A little bit of damage at the very least, which might give Heavy God a better chance of potentially recovering the situation, but he's kept busy by the man in Palace. And at this point, do you just consider saving these 2 weapons? That's an M4 as well in window that's been picked up by Mighty Max. And, well, that was a fight there that tempted Heavy God into trying to see if they could have a shot at the retake. But he gets taken out, and now it's just 1 M4 that will be saved forward.
It's one of those ones where committed into CT, it's very difficult for you to escape cleanly, right? They're going to hunt you down, especially with the 4 rifles up. So swings himself into a tempting fight, not quite able to make it stick, and Mighty Maxwell a little further away in towards the window is able to try and save this, but there are timings all over the shop and Celta's having none of it. First round on the board for EPG family. All 5 players taken down for Endpoint as well. It's going to be brutal in terms of their finances. And with 4 rifles up, well, EPG can start to build their half.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the worst possible start for Endpoint to lose out that first gun round, so demandingly as well. There's a mass in there, very little utility also, so I'm expecting perhaps a bit of aggression, and considering they're going 4 players directly towards A, that might just be the case. Maybe a slightly later push through once the mid control is lost, and well, that's basically already happened with just Crad, I believe, keeping them busy on mid. Everyone else grouped up in apartments. And might be spotted, if not for the bit of spam from Nerds. I think he might have caught the timing on that and had a shot at the kill instead. Unfortunately taken out of play. That cuts off rotations, and with Mighty Max left alone on B, there's not much he can do. He's standing only a few seconds before going down. This is a save already. As you can see, they haven't budged off of A. I like this. Commanding couple of rounds from EPG. After such a slow start as well, sometimes you think that first gun round and the ones following it and such might be a little bit shaky, but no, they have clear plans in mind and they're just going for it.
It's nice to see them just committing to it. As you said, charging in. Making it look very, very easy. And at this point, immediately the save is called. Back out of things. And Endpoint, well, 2-all. Things starting to get a little bit funky around the edges. 2 M4s of FAMAS up, but the buy is not going to look good for Mighty Max and Nerds. Nothing to really speak of. Potentially looking to lean on some kind of a drop. You could get an SMG out of one of those rifles. You need a bit of armor behind it. That's going to really dent the economy, so they're not going to force around these whatsoever. Instead, hoping that the 3 hero bits and bobs can get something done. Couple M4s, 1 FAMAS as they're going for something a little cheeky here. MHL boosted into the ladder room, but at the cost of full mid control, which EPG family are just charging their way through at the moment. Crowd with an early headshot dealing with MHL, however, and that's one of those rifles. That's that cheeky little boost gone, and now all that remains for Endpoint to try and get something going is this full B stack.
Yeah, I like the gamble at the very least being called. Although it looks like they might be ready to go in with this commitment before they have everyone quite in position, which could be a little bit scary. Although, as I say that, only now are they beginning to show themselves as the bomb gets here. Initially, Mighty Max does take out 1, giving a bit of hope, but Surreal's M4 not able to do as much as they needed, although he did dink Proplot on top of 2 more kills, so maybe a more costly round than EPG would have been hoping for going in, but overall they managed to win it out, and that's what's mostly important, and with that, they've got themselves even a bit of a lead going.
That dink from Surreal, really unfortunate. Brings the 3rd man down to 10 HP. Would have been fantastic if he could have taken it to the last and perhaps had a throw of the dice, but not to be. And as you said, EPG family taking the lead. Opportunity to build. Nickelback perhaps a little too keen based on the successes of the previous. Tries to charge the ramp molly. MHL very quickly deals with that. And Endpoint looking to return to winning ways here. A little more heavy in that mid lane as well this time. Nerds playing in and around connector. MHL to back him up. With that man advantage, they just start to slink out of these opening angles, settling into a slightly more passive hold. Properly baited out by the flashbang as well. It's a lovely little play from Endpoint.
Too sure what exactly is the plan here to recover this man disadvantage. Got the mid control, sure. I was going to say the bomb was left back around spawn, so they would need to recover it, and that's exactly what they've done. So, seems like they're setting up to move it towards A. Again, though, problem is they're fully abandoning mid after getting the initial control. They lost the player in the process of doing so, so they're not even able to leave the lurker there while they focus their execute. You've really just got to hope that it actually is pulling the tension away from these bomb sites, and I mean, sort of. If you can get the smokes down around stairs and such, you might be able to block off the rotations. They've only got that 1 smoke, I believe. It's already put down top connector. Flash going out, and I believe they just want to try and take the fight. Small smoke to block Surreal's perspective, at least towards the ramp side of things. But they've got to get a move on. There's only 24 seconds left.
They've really got to get across this site, and Nerds and MHL are having none of it. A kill apiece. Surreal still playing around his own smoke towards triple, gives him so much freedom to roam, and now, well, MHL's getting the kills before he can. Propler's head caved in, and Anakez left with the job of saving this AWP. It's a scrappy old start, this one. Endpoint with 5 alive, not going to be hunting this one. They've spent pretty much every penny they had to get into this round, so happy that they've got all 5 rifles to hold on to, something to work with into the next, and well, the scrappiness continues, 3 apiece. The buys will keep on coming for EPG family. Anakez on that saved AWP. Rifles for the remainder.
at the very least, we're getting consistent action between two teams right now. Between the two teams, rather. We're not getting tons of ecos or anything. The guns keep on coming out, which is always fun to see. Things have been slowed down slightly by EPG. More focus on getting the mid control, but they weren't really pushing immediately for it. Instead, expecting the response maybe from Endpoint. Well, they haven't got a peek or anything out of it. There's been a ton of utility thrown in return from that CT side. Some flashes, a smoke and such around connector. I think running down that utility will be one of the goals, of course, here for that T side. Although, as I say that, realizing there's a slightly more aggressive stance on ramp as well as over towards Palace, they now need to start considering what exactly is their goal going to be. They know that very likely connector and such is clear, considering there's ramp and Palace aggression. I think they might try and make a move in towards the split even. Okay.
It's a nice boost up. Crad's made his way in towards window, potentially offers another angle. They're going to pinch this site from all sides. Endpoint, this ramp aggression is critical now. Propler goes down early, and that's the kill they needed to get. Buys them a little more time. MHL able to support beautifully. It's a nice shot from Celta, despite the dink coming through, and Anakez now looking to drag it back. A couple of quick kills leaves MHL isolated. The rotation a long way away as he dodges the flashbang. Needs to find kills here, and he knows it, but it's an open plant from Anakez. A freebie given up before Crad can trade. And with just 20 seconds left on the clock, this starts to get very sketchy. Fast in from CT. Heavy God onto the low HP of Celta has dealt with him. And Crad, with just 10 seconds left, has got no time, surely. He fakes that plant out, and now Endpoint know all they've got to do is hold their nerve, and they will take the lead once again.
Yeah, I mean, Crad at that point was just like, please, someone, if you're going to kill me, do it. I don't want to go down after time, so force the fight in towards the spawn, understandably so. It's just, it's heartbreaking, as you said, the fact that they do end up losing out on that bomb plant to the spawn a couple of times. If they had a smoke, if they had a molly, maybe even to put in a little bit deeper to stop those peaks from coming in, they likely could have at least got the bomb secured and boosted up the economy, which would have been, as you can see, very useful right now, considering they have a player stuck on a Deagle and one stuck on the Galil. Smoking off in the window, there shouldn't be much for MHL. And mid control for EPG to be found, and let's see what they do with it.
What is the call? They've been getting this control fairly frequently, if we're honest. Endpoint haven't been particularly bothered about heavily contesting. Happy just to hold the sites and maybe have a little bit of a prod and a poke in towards connector. This time MHL is posted in window, with much more of a view towards short than anything else. Has heard Crad, I think they're jumping up. It's going to be a game of timings, however. Crad now breaking in towards the vent. MHL is thinking about going back for this one, and the timing is going to be key. That smoke yet to fade. As it does, Crad will remain lurking in towards ladder room. EPG family with a little bit of a scuff by, courtesy of that Anakez save a couple of rounds ago, are starting to queue things up over towards that B site. Mighty Max and Heavy God trusted with the keys here. And they're going to have a lot of heavy lifting to do as Celta, Anakez and Propler just start to creep their way on through. The short play has been spotted, which will allow a rotation, but it's still on these men here, and it's a perfect hold. 3 quick kills as Heavy God and Mighty Max combine, and Surreal is having none of the nonsense of Crad on shore. Endpoint again holding out strong. The pop into the B site just gutted before it could get close. And for EPG family, I think it's time for a little bit of a rethink.
A little bit of a slower round in comparison to what we've been getting as well. Doesn't work for them, and as you said, they need to reconsider exactly what the goal is here. I thought we were going to see a pause almost certainly, but maybe at the end of this round when they're coming into the next one where they actually will have guns. Fairness to them, stuck at the moment only on a few upgraded Deagles, really. Open, I think, just for someone to drop a bit across here.
It's one of those rounds where a couple of kills, right? Take a couple heads off, get a little bit of confidence flowing through the veins, something to work with into future rounds, but other than that, not really expecting anything too special. And, well, EPG family, again, creeping into this mid control, been fairly standard for them on the T side. The problem is Endpoint haven't really been contesting it. They haven't really been putting anyone there. They haven't been giving up any picks. After that first round where MHL got domed by Anarchez, from then on they've played it with a much more passive lean, and 55 seconds left on the clock, not a single pick found yet. It's a nice little off boost for Celta. If Nertz doesn't come wandering back towards the window, it's going to be very tough for him to get anything done. And in fact, just as Nertz does, they dismantle that boost and start to make another one, start to pop these bodies in towards window room. Nertz good for the first. Nickelback will take him down, but again, the trades very swiftly in from Heavy God and MHL respectively, as Nickelback and Anarchez just looking to cause a little more anarchy here. A little more damage out of this round would be fantastic. Heavy God chiming in with one more, however, makes it increasingly unlikely. And at this point, Anarchez needs to die. Nice 1D at the very least to make it a little more expensive before he goes down.
Yeah, I mean, still early days, so the economy hasn't built up too much, so that deagle kill might help in the long run. They'll still need to win out 1 or 2 rounds before it really has any sort of an impact. And, well, we know they've been struggling over these past few now. And up for Anarchez, rifles across the board. Let's see what they've got for us. As you kind of pointed out a couple of rounds back, they've been really successful in getting the mid control at the very least. I would imagine they'll probably focus on this area again, and then the question is, what do they actually decide to do with it? We haven't seen a ton of splits. So much damage on Krad. I don't know how he's alive right there. He's very lucky Heavy God didn't get a shot through on him. Instead, Nertz eventually gets his own finish, and well, with that a 5-on-4 already, the other teammates hadn't even really made their way towards mid. Celta was working in a little bit later, I believe. Everyone else now just moving back over towards the B apartments, where they're hoping one of the B players at least will be kept busy pushed up short.
I know Heavy God was there not too long ago, so gonna look for a little bit of timing here. And in fact, Heavy God has worked his way in towards ladder room, so Mighty Max isolated over towards this B site, tucks himself in. A lot of work to do here as they start to probe this lower site. Heavy God rotating in, does manage to grab one. Buys time for MHL again to post himself on that window, spotting multiple bodies here. Propler dancing all over the shop is making him open food for Mighty Max. As Anarchez last up, jumps out the window, lands 1 and a second in quick succession, wants to get this bomb down, but knows he's pinned it in, and unfortunately Surreal catches him off guard. Just as he looks to turn and reassess the situation, he's put down a 7th round on the board as the CT side really starting to flourish. And again, there's a couple nice ideas, right, for EPG. That B pop this time gets a lot more purchase to start things off. They catch a couple of timings, but the execution just not quite there to finish it.
Nice shots by Anarchez, though. But there's moments so far throughout this game, we just need to see them a little bit earlier in a round, maybe based off of a spawn, some early picks to try and work. See whether he gets the op again into this next gun round. But yeah, we're getting a pause in where they're having a chat. I mean, you've got to presume it's from EPG.
Feels sensible, right, to take the time out, but
There's always those mad moments where the team winning does take a pause, though.
And to be fair, pauses at this level, always a little bit surprised to see them. They don't tend to come out very often at all, so it wouldn't surprise me if it's Rajin maybe spotting something, a gap in the net, but he just wants to tighten up before we get going again. Half buy into this one, Tex and the Deeg. Looking for the run and gun. So it does look like, again, they want to try this split out towards A. A little bit more mid-presence this time for Endpoint. MHL firing off some warning shots, but here pops the execute. 3 smokes down, gives them a little bit of breathing room, and again, the second prong of this attack in towards Connector hopes to catch a forlorn rotation, and that's exactly what he gets. Heavy God working his way up short, a little bit unaware of the situation. Gets his head cleaved off, and now they'll look to recover the rifles. Nertz trying to make sure that's not possible, does deal with Nickelback, and as the T side bail out of that A site hit, which would have got them the site right, Endpoint playing passive, they find themselves instead walking into rifles with no upgrades to back them up, no nades to get them out. It's just going to be the charge into the B site once again.
Yeah, I mean, I don't fully blame the rotation around. There's a few players waiting for them on A, so try something different, but even then, it doesn't seem like they are fully committed to B. The bomb's definitely ready to go into B, They've sent 2 players back through under, boost into window, potentially a flanker even from behind on B. We'll have to see how this plays out as Selter. Okay, takes out Nertz in the window. Propla's got an MHL in the meantime, and suddenly it's all onto Mighty Max, left alone on B. But if he can take out this bomb carrier, that might be enough.
Timing's got to be everything. He's got to work his way into the site quickly. Anarkez shoulders it, baits him out. He's buying time. He's dinking him up. An EPG family have pulled off the miracle round. The Tech 9s come out. The run and gun does them in. MHL gets caught. Nertz on the timing in the rotation. This looks so good to start things off. An early 4v4. They hold on to the rifle, but just a couple of those Tech 9 dinks so quickly undoing it. Buy should still be ish available, but it's going to be the half from Endpoint. Knowing that Heavy God and Nertz have been investing a little more than the rest, haven't really got the money to give it another go, and it gives EPG family a huge opportunity here, charging up short. Anarkez gets the early kill. Nertz looking for a response, will find at least one. They need a lot more where that came from as the rifles maintain firepower advantage for EPG.
They shouldn't struggle too much. They know one player fell back through under as well. Definitely taking their time, though. It's allowed for Endpoint to, as you can see, take a bit of a gamble so that these pistols can hopefully be more effective. Just up on short. Unfortunate as the push is coming over towards B that they're pushed deep in on short. If they were all up on the bomb site, these pistols could have been incredibly dangerous. At range, though, we'll have to see these Deagles hitting some nasty shots if they want a chance. It's a dink, actually, initially from the P250, I believe, on Crad. Fortunately, not living to get the kill, but we'll see whether any of that damage rather can be followed up on. And, well, it is. It's Nertz who gets one, as well as a team kill from Crad.
That starts to make things a little bit interesting here. Bottom out in no man's land. Deagle in the hands of Nertz, already finding a couple. Need the quad kill to make this one competitive. As the bomb goes down, he spots Proper on the jump across, and he can't quite land Anarkez. The left-hand peak almost giving the headshot away, but Nertz not quite able to connect it. EPG family, you have to say, getting away with one there just a little bit. Those dinks look like they could have been converted into a little bit more, but Endpoint once again will have the rifles as they look to stabilize towards the back end of this first half.
I mean, it's still possible EPG could even come out with 8 rounds here on the half, which would be pretty amazing. At that point, Endpoint would be in serious trouble, actually. So, see how they start to shape up again now that the guns are back out. A bit worried there for Anarkez, but they do bail out on that boost as soon as the shot's taken. And, well, they're expecting what looked like a very aggressive play that they were hoping for, at least, because they had one player pushed all the way back on mid. We haven't really seen that mid aggression yet from Endpoint, so I think that would have been a somewhat suitable adjustment to make. EPG would have been expecting it, though, so see if it comes a little bit later. Perhaps instead they're still happy to just sit back, somewhat gambling towards this A-bomb site with the 3 players in position, but that looks like it will potentially be the correct call anyway. Even one player ahead of where the smokes will go down.
Crad burns heavily there as well, trying to be the leading man. The Molotov splitting the offensive and forcing him to retreat down to 31 HP in the process. He'll bog down himself an AWP. As the early fight lost by Heavy God, he had all the advantages in the world there, but Nickelback able to get the better of him, and you can see the scramble now from the CT side. This aggressive stance from Surreal in towards the A site makes it a little awkward for Nertz. He has to try and adjust things. The rotation into window from MHL will get at least one, and now it's on to Surreal, able to grab himself the first, but quickly culled. Seltzer and Anarkez able to respond as Mighty Max and Nertz left in the clutch. Bomb to go down. They don't really want to contest it either, with Mighty Max still all the way out on short. 3 afterplants available for EPG, and this retake goes from bad to worse. 1 Molotov, 1 flashbang to get themselves anywhere near this, and I don't know if Endpoint really want to give this one a go, Dean.
They don't, it seems. Mighty Max already very quickly getting out of there through underpass, and Nertz doing the same. He's going to be a little bit more cautious, though, in case he's already being pushed down. Even if they save the 2 weapons over, it's barely going to allow them to scrape together a buy with the loss bonus, so very likely an eco to be had, and potentially 7-7 on the scoreline. This is not a position I was really expecting to be able to turn it around to. See, the economy's already kind of getting out of control for a couple players on EPG as well. After the drops, it won't be too ridiculous, but they've got a bit of money there in the reserve at the very least. And cannot say that at all for Endpoint. Will they buy? No, not going to force the issue. A couple upgraded pistols alongside the 2 M4s, and it's going to be Endpoint just barely trying to fight to win out the half.
Yeah, I'd like to see them maybe dropping a couple of those upgraded pistols, get Heavy God and MHL on a little bit more, but not to be. They do want to get a little bit of presence again, this boost in towards short to try and contest the mid fights. That nade over the top, though, is going to be chunky, chipping away at Heavy God and Nerds. As again, they are going to brawl this one out, and Nerds will be able to get the better of it to start things off. Down to 16 HP in the process, but he's bought his team a man advantage. And this is exactly where these kind of half-buy situations can start to get a little bit scary. You know there's rifles on the board if you're EPG family. As Propler starts to wander his way out of Palace, and he will be able to deal with Nerds in the process. Anakez starting to thin the numbers even further, deals with MHL, and at this point, you're looking to Mighty Max to provide the moment. He spots out Celta, but the timing's not quite right. With 55 seconds left on the clock, you really need that rifle to start singing. Still plenty of opportunities for this bomb to work its way towards either side. Aggression from Surreal down the ramp to try and counter that. But it is going to be the B-pop, and it's going to be down to Mighty Max. Heavy God with only the USP to support. So he puts himself on the rattiest little angle he can find and looks to start things off, aware that the flank is always a possibility. Of course, not blessed with the X-ray that we are. The rat angle is checked. Seltzer finds his headshot. And at this point, Heavy God hiding behind that bench, well, he is doomed. It's only a matter of time, surely, before that USP is flushed out. He does hear this bomb going down, though, and he will charge onto Annika, so gets at least one for his trouble before he's taken out. Unfortunately, that will be that. And, well, EPG family, their T-side draws level, and they've made something of this half, Dean.
Yeah, Morden just made something of that. I mean, it's looking very likely that they can come out with the 8-7 scoreline, which did not look like it was going to be possible when they were down. I think it was even 7-3 at one point, right? So it's kind of slipping away from Endpoint right now. You know, Ancient up next is going to be a tough one for EPG no matter what. And then Duke as a decider is kind of just, who the hell knows?
Yep.
Even if they had their old rosters, this would be a somewhat strange map, though. The changes, it just makes things so unpredictable.
Even weirder. But at 7 apiece, you know, a couple of economic breaks have really done Endpoint in here. Early on, they looked in control. They looked very solid. And just those 2 rounds, that one with the pistols, really started it all. The Tech-9s of EPG family buying them the legroom they need to level things out, and now buying them the confidence to charge up short. MHL doing what he can to put a stop to it, but it's only the one. And Celta, well, we questioned the youngster, but he's found 2 quick kills here with a swift headshot onto Surreal before he's traded. And he's bought his team a 3-on-3, thrown the seeds of chaos into this Endpoint defense as well. No control of the A site, limited control over towards B, and make that none as Nickelback catches the aggression of Mighty Max. And well, this is just all over the shop at this point. Crad has worked his way through the window. Sandwich has been cleared by Propler. Just these 2 remaining players, mid and short, not normally where you want to see your CT defense. And well, Propler and Crad make sure it's not seen at all. 8-7 as we head into the half, the narrowest of leads, but it goes the way of EPG family. And we are back into the action. EPG family dragging themselves back into that first half with a couple of well-placed force buys, and they find themselves with the lead at the half, 8-7. Endpoint looking to very quickly tilt the scales back in their favour, however, as it's a fast play straight out into the A bomb site. There's crossfires all over the shop for EPG family as Anarchez does manage to find an opening pick. And that bomb is still yet to go down for Endpoint, as finally Mighty Max looking to get it planted, but Crad through the corner of a smoke has found that second kill, which makes it all the more nightmarish for Endpoint. They wanted that quick bomb plant. They wanted to play this after plant. Instead, they're forced to brawl it out. And as the trades come through, Nert's in no man's land out towards mid, desperate to grab another kill. Anarchez is having none of it, and it leaves just Surreal clutching out this 1v4, which will be 0v4 swiftly. EPG family survived the pistol.
Yeah, I don't know. EPG seem to have just taken full control, really. The initial burst of rounds as this game begun, and the Endpoint ever since the guns have really gotten going, though. It's all EPG, and momentum definitely carrying into this pistol round, where Anarchez, I believe, hopped off there with a triple, was it, in the end? Either way, all Glocks on the T side, no upgrades at all, and a 10th round almost a certainty, I would imagine, for EPG. Ed doesn't quite take out Mighty Max, but it's not going to make things any easier for him. I'd imagine they're using this as a bit of time to talk right now, as you can see. Most of them hanging back as well. It's this
the classic.
It's this next gun round. They're never really, isn't it?
I don't think we're quite at that level of desperation yet, but
Watching
certainly
them, it
would
looks
be
like
good.
they are.
Yeah, it would be good to build a little bit of confidence, right? Get that early gun round going in your favour. Unfortunately for them, they are walking into the meat grinder at this point. Crad tags them, Celta bags them. As they do pop out in towards this B bomb site, and well, the MP9 starts to go to work. Takes a dink on the chin, switches to the pistol. Celta looking for the ace, and well, he will quite happily find it. The youngster up against the eco, admittedly, but grabbing himself the nice 5k, cleanly done as well. Building up a lovely little bank account on that MP9. And as you said, Dean, first rifles come out for Endpoint. Opportunity now to steady the ship. If not, this one could go south very quickly indeed.
Yeah, unfortunately, he wasn't able to finish the last couple on the MP9 just for the sake of money, but still the economy building up plenty over those initial few rounds. It's full guns now for Endpoint, though, and that's where we start to find out if they've got what they need to claw things back here on this T side. It is going to be a little bit of a comeback that's necessary after what I believe has been 7+ rounds in a row now for EPG. Go back to a straight up mid. Not going to fully commit to it, instead tucking in. I was going to presume he'd turn around and watch under, but yeah, considering he's lost his window teammate, he's got to put his full focus towards the top of mid. I feel like they're halfway in, halfway out.
With Proplus holding lower tunnels, it feels solid enough. Crad there with them as well to provide a second rifle in towards middle. Smoke comes over the top. He's going to go for the block, and indeed he does. Gets himself an angle. Propler now dropping the Molotov, starting to isolate these fights. There's bodies there, and there's bodies waiting. Crad does go down. MHL doing what he can to drag his team back into this, and a huge triple out of mid gives them just what they wanted. The three-man mid lean from EPG is demolished by the single AK-47 of MHL. The youngster going big as it leaves Anarchez and Celta with, well, not the best of weaponry, shall we say. An MP9 and a scout. Make that just the scout to try and defend what they can. Anarchez's position now known. He gets a tag onto Heavy God, but no more than that. Endpoint. We said this first rifle round was a confidence builder, and that will be one hell of a confidence builder for MHL.
Yeah, just snappy 3 kills in between them there on mid. I'm not sure how he gets away with that, quite considering you had the player initially pushed up as well as a window and connector player fighting him, but takes them all. Yeah, I meant initially I didn't love that they were kind of just sticking in with that mid play, because obviously we knew there was some players holding, but I would have liked to have seen the flash up initially, just because they were sitting around a little bit too long. They didn't have info of what was going on elsewhere, and they had even at one point begun to rotate that window player back away, so I was a little bit scared that the timing wasn't going to work out for them. That didn't end up being the issue though, since they were in position. They just couldn't deal with MHL.
Always a problem. If you can't find your kills, then no matter how good the setup is, things will fall apart quite rapidly. Different kind of aggression into this one. Plotpler again spearheading it. Apparently I can't pronounce his name. Propler. There we go. Down the ramp. Endpoint looking a little confused that they've got mid-control this cleanly as they start to crawl their way up connector. And this A-site split looks viable now. Surreal as well, catching Crad on a fading smoke. Just not aware he was visible to the angle he wants more, but he will get taken out for it. And now Anaket's able to grab a double from behind double. Propler still aggressive into the ramp as well. Heavy God trying to find the pressure release, but it's just Mighty Max alone in the 1v2, dinked up in the process, caught with nade in hand, an EPG while they lose one rifle by. They find the response immediately, back in it 11-8. And the buy, I thought they were going to go for this. MHL, the only player who was really struggling financially, but it looks like Endpoint want to take the half buy and give EPG family an opportunity to stabilize.
Yeah. I think I'd call it a bit more than stabilize at this point, considering they're in to just kind of run away with this scoreline. I am still kind of up in the air as to how I think Ancient will play out, but the EPG playing like this, I think they have a pretty good shot, potentially stealing it away as well. So it's a slightly worrying position for Endpoint to be in. And that's even with a few players having some good individual moments, so we'll need to see a lot more moving forward.
Pistols out for this one. Nert's going down early. Looking to pop a few heads here. Just get, again, any kind of damage, anything to dent the economy. Because you can see it's not established for EPG family. It's been a back and forth start to the second half. So if they can take 2 rifles away, make it a third, make this just a little bit more costly, that would be ideal for Endpoint. Working their way again into this mid-control. Utility there to give him it. Nickelback not going to give it away freely, or is he? Surreal charging in with the Deagle just on the timing of that fading smoke, deals with Nickelback. And that's exactly how you want to start these kind of rounds. Admittedly losing Nerts early, but they're able to level the playing field. Now they've got a rifle in hand. Surreal is waiting for this peak, but the timing, oh, the timing is disgusting for him. He can't quite find the headshot he's after, and with 35 seconds left, Endpoint, they've got to come up with a plan and fast. That's one way to do it. Heavy God, clean 1D God to Adakez, and that's going to draw the rotations over towards this A site. Heavy God's presence is making this ugly, and it's going to leave Celta, the youngster, again, the key pressure point in this round. He's over towards the B bomb site. He's tucked his MP9 in close. He's on his own for now, and Surreal has got him. Propler will deal with one, but that's going to be bombed down if they can protect Mighty Max, which they will. Crad able to find at least a little bit more to try and make it expensive. Keeps it competitive in the 2-on-2 and buys time for Propler to rotate in from short.
Yeah, but it's still taking a while. I mean, he's doing what he can already on low health, though, so Propler's going to have to be the one to lead the way, really, back into this bomb site. Surreal spotted in on short, and okay, never mind. Mighty Max now alone in the back of the bomb site, actually sticking to the Deagle, hoping the quick headshots can come his way. He gets the initial now on the MP9, hoping to just catch him completely off guard, and well, it seems like he might have just won this on time alone, playing around the pillar. He has indeed managed to make it happen properly. There's nothing that he can do about defusing that bomb. It's going to be Endpoint off the back of a very weak investment who managed to get it done. And that's similar kind of to how EPG came alive in this game as well, where they won out the round with pistols there on that previous half. So are we going to see Endpoint now being kind of motivated towards a comeback of their own? Possible.
Hell of a way to start. I said the ideal circumstance with a few kills, keep the economy slim for EPG. They go one better. Handful of 1Ds, get a couple of rifles in hand, really make something of it. Able to just pull the marionette strings of the defense. Manipulate them just to their liking. Boost up this time for MHL. Nickelback, he's going to get aggressive up mid, and there's timings all over the shop here. They're reassembling this boost, and Mighty Max able to do nothing to protect his young AWPer. Nickelback gets the freebie, resets in towards connector, and well, it's a slim pickings of a buy for the CT side. A few rifles, SMGs in support, but for a split second they have the advantage. Nert's quickly there to trade it back and keep things competitive.
Bomb's going to be brought back around to A, maybe? Those pushing ramp, so he's going to be in a decent spot to potentially cut off that rotation. The only issue is his teammates are not really in positions where they're going to be able to make their way over to help him anytime soon. So, see where exactly this is going to end up. Looks like right now, A is certainly the weak point. Don't know if it's the target, though. No, they're going to put the smokes down on mid, making it look like a B split, which might keep some players, at least that was the hope, to keep some players busy around mid, watching short and such. While they instead focus mostly out of the apartments, hoping for a little resistance, but that's not going to be the case.
This is going to be sketchy. There's bodies here. There's multiple SMGs, pistols, able to do work in these kind of positions. But Surreal very quickly trying to keep things under control. Celta, he grabs one, but that's a one and done position, and Endpoint know it. 13 seconds left on the clock. They've still got to deal with both of these players now. Fast rotation in for the rifle of Propler. 8 seconds. They get the first 5, 4. They've got to get this bomb down. Now they've got to hunt this kill. And, well, Propler knows it. Tucks himself in. The clock is his friend. He may not get the kill, but he gets the round regardless. Endpoint, they run the clock just a little too low. They don't leave themselves with quite enough time to break the sight. And EPG family get a major let off.
It looked like they had it pretty much for certain at that point, but no, somehow not able to get that bomb down in time. A round that could have been a massive lifeline for Endpoint slips away, and well, now they're scraping together a buy as good as they can. I mean, EPG's is definitely worse, but still. Both teams are in a very fragile position. Which is over. Making quite a bit of noise. Question is that flank around True Palace going to have a chance to get much done? There's 3 players on the bomb site itself. At least there was. And Arquez goes down. You see a bit of a rotation from Nickelback, who had the M4 in the spawn as well. And Krad's MP9 from behind. Can't get anything done either. There was a couple chances here, but it looks like Endpoint might just be able to come back out swinging once again.
If they can deal with Celta, this is a wide open bomb site, and indeed Surreal will. Nickelback at the very least takes the lurker out of Nerds out towards short, but this round is job done. Endpoint know it, and MHL, well, why not go hunting, my friend? You've got a Tech 9 to work with. It's definitely rifles on the floor should he want to recover them, but I think he just fancies having a crack with this tech. See if maybe he can get a kill. Take one of these rifles away. He's going to start working his way out towards the kitchen. He's got flashes and smokes available. A drive-by Tech 9 could do a lot of heavy lifting here, as well as the clean dink comes in. It's dinks exchange, but the pistol, well, it trumps the M4 in this game of top trumps. And yeah, a rifle recovered for MHL at this point. He knows where the last man is as well, so he'll call in Mighty Max to try and pin him in. A great result for Endpoint and a great round to find, completely busting the economy of EPG family.
At the moment seems just all over the place, really. Team that's in the driver's seat seems to struggle no matter what. EPG, who had their chance there to chain some rounds together, instead now again they're left spending everything to get mostly pistols and Kevlar, I'd imagine. Double eco on 3 of those players, so I doubt they're going to actually go for the eco indeed. Eventually purchasing up, and Endpoint should have a pretty easy 11th round as long as they don't fall to this one. A 12th will come their way as well. Suddenly we're tied back up, and well, this first map still being one that can go either way. Is that not being destroyed yet? Or did they come back every round? I don't remember anymore.
It's been a while since
I think I knife it running out of spawn every time, but I can't remember.
Oh. Half by. Not a good look. Propler on that saved AK, though. Looking to make something of this round. It does find an opening pick into mid. Suddenly this Endpoint attack starts to look just a smidge one-dimensional. There's 3 players trying to work their way out of the ramp. A little bit of utility to try and shut out some of these angles, but heavy-handed rotations as well. Propler with that AK joining a swarm of pistols as they will look to retake this A site. Mighty Max finds the first. Still plenty more where that came from, however, and lurking in and around their own smokes to make it just that little more awkward for Endpoint to flush them out. Heavy God taking some chip damage as Propler looks to assemble the boost. MHL, the victim, doesn't quite land the shot, however. The AK of Propler just not quite chipping away in the way he would have hoped. That bomb over towards jungle as the Palace flank is read well by Heavy God. And at this point, it feels like the opportunity may well have abated itself. Mighty Max with a dink onto him before MHL backs him out of it. And well, the AWP will save them face in towards this one. Just one round the difference as Nickelback looks for some exit kills. Endpoint very nearly fluffing their lines on that one, you have to say, Dean. But they managed to get out of it without giving up too much.
No. EPG need to win this next gun round, really. Otherwise, Endpoint are going to start running away with what could be a lead even soon. Nickelback at least saving himself a AK over, which is always going to be nice. Yeah, I mean, they're averaging about 2,000, so other than the AK, you probably just take a full eco. Endpoint are going to tie things up for sure, and then going into the next real gun round is where we get to see who's going to start taking a bit of a lead going into the final few rounds. Let's see, I want to see a gamble taken with that AK. As I mentioned, coming into this series, Nickelback, he can either take over a map or he can be just kind of missing, and we need the first of those right now. We need Nickelback with two or three initial kills here if possible, and that's interesting. Boosted up in the short. Didn't go for the jump, which Propla made in the previous round, instead wanting to take a slightly more passive angle from the ladder room itself. While it worked out for the initial kill, unfortunately the op elsewhere has come back with a trade in the meantime. Putting it into a 4-on-3 once again in favour of Endpoint.
It has allowed for that AK to be recovered. The silver lining of this round. The problem is it's losing bodies all around it. Surreal charging out into the B site now will start to call that this is open for the taking. And Endpoint should, without too much fuss, clean this one up. Oh. Big sneeze, but we're back into it. And yeah, Celta and Anikes, I mean, you've got a Deagle and an AK. You've got to choose a site, and unfortunately they've chosen the wrong one, it seems, at this point. Trying to maybe bodyguard the AK, in fact. I thought they might go and have a look at that A site, see if they can get some kind of a stat going. Instead, it looks like a much more passive goal for the CT side. That AK deep in towards CT spawn. Anikes just tucked on the corner. Should be able to find a clean shot if anyone looks to round it and start to hunt that AK down. So Endpoint will be able to draw things up at 12 apiece. Once again, it's a miracle pistol round, Dean, that starts this rolling and just decimates that CT economy again. EPG family left with very few chances of a full buy if this next round goes south, and Endpoint starting to really stretch their legs on their opposition's map pick.
Doesn't look like Endpoint are going to throw themselves at the hunt too much. And you've got a player there in the window. Could be worthwhile trying to steal this AK, but should be okay. Celter's going to carry it over. Tie it up, though. Main thing. I mean, I didn't think we'd be looking at a competitive match here again between the two after how things were going. And things kind of kicking off this half rather for EPG. We had a 7-3 at one point for EPG if we go back far enough. No op for the CT side, other than that, but they've got pretty much everything they could ask for. Straight up smoking the window as well. They haven't really been going with those quick window smokes as much anyway. I think hoping that it would force them to try and make the short jump once again, and I'm hoping that this time they would be able to punish it. Not quite the case though. Instead, out through under, just looking for the standard mid control, nothing too crazy off the back of it. And surprisingly, EPG are not challenging at all, and aren't really going to be putting in a response by pushing B or pushing ramp or anything either.
Just starting to think about it as you say it. The caster curse comes in and they do start to propose a little bit of control in towards that A ramp. Will be given over relatively freely. Heavy God, trusted in this lurking role, allows the control to be taken in exchange for his life. Problem is, Endpoint have thread the needle somewhat here. Nerds, well placed in towards jungle. provides the perfect opportunity to cut rotations no matter which way Endpoint want to take this. And it's a matter of flushing out this ramp player. If nickelback can get a couple kills here, if he can keep it close, this could be good, but the pot flash is better. Mighty Max reads the situation like a book, and now the A site under siege. Anarchez tries to tuck tail, but it's not going to work. Hunted down by Surreal. As again, Nertz is there to cut out this short rotation before it even becomes a thing. Surreal, meanwhile, continues to gut this A site. And Celta, the youngster, unfortunately, going to have no impact in towards this one. Tucks himself away towards the depths of that B site. Hunt already coming in. It's actually MHL hunting with an AWP. A couple of missed shots. And he might do well to just back out of this one and let some of his rifles come and have the fun instead.
Just have to keep watching Celter, left alone, trying to save weapons. Very fun. He's been spotted here as well, or at least should be in a sec. They cleared a corner. There we go. Works out for Heavy God being the one who just decides to wait, and instead Mighty Max gets the AK bullet to the head. 13-12, a lead for Endpoint. We've seen it coming for a little while, but there was some chances in there for EPG to try and put a stop to it. Just working out for them. Now they're going to be, I think, looking at an eco here again. See exactly how they're going to be shaping up in a moment. Either way, it's maybe one more gun round coming through before the 15. They'll likely go to Endpoints. So yeah, one eco here, a few pistols being upgraded. The gun round in the next round doesn't work out for them, then they're in a lot of trouble. They're going right into an A hit here. That might be a bad idea.
Always feels a little risky up against the pistols to just charge into some control, and well, Mighty Max clearly agrees with that opinion. Backs the bomb out, looks for some control in towards TV. Perhaps starts to think maybe there's a plan B on the board. Nickelback, however, looking to assert himself in this one. MHL posted on that AWP is dealt with earlier. Missed window smoke as well coming out from Surreal. Makes this very ugly. Nickelback, 2 1-digs to his name already. Looking to continue building the account. As Endpoint have left themselves out on a limb here. 3 on 5. This was the round to stabilize. This was 14 in their back pocket. EPG looking to do a bit of pilfering. The bomb currently solo out towards mid as Surreal is trying to chip away. Any kind of picks he can find, any kind of control he can gather. There's timings all over the shop here for EPG family. Poplar fully blinded, somehow still alive as Anarchez deals with Heavy God, and this is disastrous. Mighty Max alone, somehow in a 1v4. The upgraded pistols have done near enough everything that they could possibly do for EPG. Mighty Max fluffing his utility as he panics in towards this B bomb site. Will at least get that bomb down. Or will he? He taps it. He wants to take the fights. He'll find one, but he's traded immediately. And EPG pulling the miracle round out the back pocket as Endpoint. He spoke in the pregame about the experience of KOB. The opportunities that brings, and maybe just starting to feel the nerves once again with the youngsters back into the fold.
EPG struggled for so long to finally get another round on the board as well. So to finally do it there and stop Endpoint from running away with 14 rounds is a bit of a miracle. Heavy God, okay, he's caught the Palace aggression, I believe it was. Poplar goes down. Yeah, heavily committed through there. He really wanted that initial kill to try and ease some pressure. Instead, Endpoint can just slow things down on there, and now it's EPG who are going to be feeling the pressure to try and make another play somewhere. Especially as the nades start to go down on mid.
Opportunity to redeem themselves here, Endpoint. Crowd boosted up, however, on the bricks will level things out. EPG were never going to go quietly into this one, and they're looking to have their impact right now on Mirage. Mighty Max on the timing. MHL does very well to trade, spectacularly well, you may say. But still, there are issues abound. The timing is there, but Anarchez gets the better of it. Dink down to 20. Retreats with the man advantage. Concedes control of the A site, but with the knowledge that bomb is still dropped in towards middle. And MHL is still a long way from the support that he desperately needs as the flanks are coming in all over the shop here. Celta starting to work his way into underpass. That timing could be everything here. MHL without utility. has got to get past the waiting crosshairs of Crad. There's yet more timings. MHL wants a fight here, and it's going to be to his undoing. Crad finds the bomb, drops it with 20 seconds on the clock. Surreal needs a clutch for the ages. He sprays down one, but immediately the trade is there. EPG family have their 14th. And whilst the money will be there once more for Endpoint, the confidence may not be.
What is happening? I do not know how EPG are managing to actually grind out these rounds. It's a decent start initially for Endpoint, and then they just start dropping it one by one, even losing the bomb deep into jungle, which is obviously not ideal. At that point, it was already basically over. They can buy again, but that costs them everything here. So if they lose this, they're going to be facing down with EPG, EPG already on 15 rounds, rather, with very little to try and actually fight for an overtime. They can't really afford to let that happen. Let's see. I do believe this is EPG's map choice indeed, so gotta remember that at the very least. Ancient up next should favor Endpoint a little bit more so, but I don't think it's a certainty by any means. Decent nade damage. Might catch the time in here as well. I'm trying to watch for the gap, more so if someone pushes around the smoke itself.
Well placed aggression from Celta here. Shortly to confirm that the B hit is not a possibility. And look at the freedom that allows EPG family. A boost up into the ladder room late on for Crad to can maintain short control. At this point, the stack in towards the A-bomb site, almost a guarantee. Crad dropping down, deals with Surreal to open things up. And this one, well, unfortunately for Endpoint, it has been red. EPG family know exactly what's coming before the hit has even materialized. The rotations will start to come in. The A-site pop with 3 here to defend it, and just 45 seconds left on the clock is going to require a little bit of magic. Heavy God and MHL have been willing to provide thus far, but they're going to need a little more now as the bomb actually thinks about making an alternate path out of this. MHL, with bomb on his back, wants to work his way over towards A, but this is the problem. So long as Celta held this control that the utility drops in, and with 28 seconds, the bomb is in no man's land. A smoke blocking its progress in towards this B site. Celta lurking on the other side, just waiting for the kills to be gifted. Yes, they've crept Nerds into a promising position, but with just 12 seconds left, there's no way they're getting anywhere near this. 10 seconds, Mighty Max throwing his life away. And this one is done. 6 seconds, MHL will find a kill, but it's consolation and nothing more. It's 15 on the board for EPG family. The grind continues as they look to steal their own map pick, you have to say, through virtue and not a lot else.
Really no one else to add to it at this point. We're just seeing EPG playing strong positions most of the time, getting solid one and dones, trading each other when needed, and I feel like they're running into a brick wall at him. Imagine, nice jump on the short. Didn't manage to take the fight because of the flash, of course, completely blinded him. But doesn't matter, Crad's going to be able to catch Nerds who crossed over eventually, and this seems to be funneling them straight over towards the B apartments, where Celter has a decent position, sure, but when the smoke starts to fade, he could be in trouble.
Timing of this is going to be just about everything, and that nade is a lovely little timing, chipping away at 2.
Not as much as I thought it'd be.
Should have got more. Molly comes in to deny the aggression. Anakez and Celta pick off one apiece, and this is falling apart at the seams. It is done. It will be EPG family who take their map pick by the skin on their teeth as they look to make this one clean. And well, it's a performance, isn't it, from EPG family, because it felt like Endpoint had everything going their way there. They looked clean, they looked in control, a little bit of luck with that pistol round that they got going, but it felt like the T side was snowballing, and this was very quickly going to be a one and done deal. 2 maps, we were finishing early, and EPG